Hi guys, today the US Chess Championship got underway. The first round, we're going to have a round robin, and all eyes will be, well, on the big three, but I think first and foremost on Fabiano Caruana, the new challenger to the world crown. He followed up the win at the candidates with an impressive performance, more or less, in Grenke, where he won as well. So can he finish the triple crown, so to say, and win the US Chess Championship? Like I said, yeah, the big three. Nakamura is there as well, and Wesley So, the defending champion. And then we have a number of high-rated and interesting players, such as Sam Shankland, Ray Robson, and Jeffrey Chong, to name a few, and some tournament regulars, and some young players like Awonder Liang. And I think this will be an interesting tournament, and I will try to keep an eye on it, as well as Shamkir Chess, of course, where the world champion will play. So yeah, in the first round, Caruana got the black pieces against the young Awonder Liang, who is the bottom seed in this tournament, but a very promising young player. And let's see how he did against Fabiano. So Awonder opened with e4 and c5 from Fabiano, already swaying away from his regular e5 Petrovs and such. So it seems like we will see a different kind of chess in this tournament, where the big three especially have to rack up the wins and get them with the black pieces. So knight f3, knight c6, and we have bishop to b5, the Rossolimo. Now Fabiano goes for g6, which is the most popular move, and Awonder takes on c6, and black has got this double pawn here, but he has the infamous bishop pair. So play follows a regular path here, bishop g7, h3. White has the option of, sometimes he castles kingside, sometimes he castles queenside in this line, but most usually on the king side we have knight f6, knight to c3, and black castles. There's also another way here to play knight to d7 at some point, and the idea there is to play e5. Sometimes the queen has to come to e7, and then the knight travels on this path to e6, where it's eyeing these two squares here. I played this line at one point, so I know some ideas here. Well, for that game, I think I played it only one or two games. But Fabiano castled, bishop e3, pawn is attacked, so we defended, queen to d2, and e5. So okay, black is putting his pawns on black squares, so he doesn't really mind bishop h6, and also he can't really do much about it. So he gets on with life here with rook e8, and white eliminates the bishop pair. Usually black doesn't mind, because he will put this knight mover in place, and sometimes the pawn comes to f6 if we have to, and this bishop will work better with the pawns on black squares, although this pawn is always a bit of a thorn in black side. Queen e3 was played, queen to d6, knight e2, and a5. So this probably discourages white a little bit from castling on the queen side, so he goes for king side here. And now, instead of going on this knight tour here, that's usual when you go knight d7 instead of castling, Caruana goes with knight to h5. So the knight is eyeing this square, and white really can't prevent that. He plays knight d2, and the knight jumps into f4. So there's no g3 because of the pawn hanging here. But we see knight to c4 from Awonder, hitting the queen and the pawn on b6, so queen g7. Tucks the queen away, defends the pawn, and now a4. So first Caruana plays bishop e6, and then he plays b5. Aesthetically, I guess you would like to keep this pawn chain intact, because, okay, Caruana plays b5, but it also weakens some pawns. I mean, this pawn becomes weak Okay, white doesn't take on b5, but in some cases he can take on b5, and this is a problem. But yeah, I guess Caruana has figured out that this will not be a problem after queen to d6. So he sort of keeps the tension here and keeps the dynamics of the pawns. Once you play b4, you kind of lose the dynamics, but sometimes you have to do it. So Awonder takes on f4, and the queen retreats. So now there might exist a possibility where white is attacking this pawn, so I guess Caruana felt it most safe to just play b4, close things up, knight to f3, and now he's switching his attention over to the king side. King h2, queen to f6, and here you can't give black a free hand. If you do, moves like this will follow, and g4, and the king will become vulnerable. So white decides to counterattack here with g3. To g5 he plays rook to g1, and now black felt he needed to get his king out of the g file. So king h8, and now Awonder took on f4. Now if queen takes, we have to interpose with the rook, which should be fine. So Caruana takes with the pawn, and now rook to a2. Okay, this must have some ideas of trading queens here with queen to a1, otherwise this doesn't make much sense. So queen h6 gets out of that, and now knight g5. Caruana plays rook a to d8, and to be honest, there's not much going on here, and I think Awonder was quite happy here just to neutralize the most informed chess player on the planet, and he took on e6, rook takes e6, and he must have figured he could draw this. Rook g6, the rook comes back to a1, and I think everything should be more or less under control here. This pawn is attacked now. The only thing white has to worry about is some kind of queen c3 eyeing this weakness, but at the moment that's easily defended, probably with the queen, or just taken on f4. Yeah, queen c3, queen takes f4, queen takes c2, you take on g6 and give a check on f6. So queen e5 here. And now, despite straightening out black's pawns, Awonder took on g6. And I think that there's simply no way through for either side here. Okay, this pawn is attacked, but easily defended. And now Awonder is just going back and forth, basically. I mean, f3, okay, it does weaken some squares, but he figures, okay, I can just defend this pawn, and now I'll just move back and forth, and there's no way really for black to make any progress here, and that's probably the correct assessment. Rook g1, a bit of back and forth here, and yeah, basically this game petered out to a draw after queen to d4. Awonder took, and there's not much to try here. Nice liquidation, h4, rook h6, e5. So we're getting rid of all these pawns here. After rook h5, Awonder took. First played king h3, and then we had the exchange on g5. And this is a draw. Even though white to move has to retreat with the king. If we get the analysis board, we can always just go back and forth here, and there's no way to use this extra tempo. No way for the king to penetrate, so easy draw. And yeah, quiet start for Fabiano, but winning with black these days is always difficult. And I'm sure that Awonder was happy with this result, and we'll see what happens in the next few rounds. So on to the next one.